Right now, in several nations, a single book can turn a traveler into a criminal. Around the globe, the Bible is still deemed contraband, searched for, seized, and destroyed. Stay with us as we count down the 10 places where owning this text could forfeit your freedom. Since the 15th century, more than 5 billion Bibles have rolled off presses. In most cities, you'll find them in bedside drawers, thrift stores, even phone apps. Yet a short flight can land you under a legal system where the very same pages bring interrogation, fines, or prison. Tonight's documentary follows a countdown, 10 to 1, spotlighting states that criminalize Bible ownership, distribution, or display. Let's dive into the details. Clicking the subscribe button is a great motivation for the channel. Thank you very much. Number 10. Morocco, in the bustling markets of Morocco, where vibrant colors and the rich aromas of spices and textiles create an enchanting mosaic of culture and tradition. There lies a stark contrast in the realm of religious freedoms, specifically the distribution and possession of Bibles, translated into Arabic faith stringent prohibitions, while Morocco is generally celebrated for its relatively moderate stance towards various religions. This specific restriction on the Arabic Bible sheds light on the nuanced and sometimes contradictory approach to religious tolerance within the nation. The Moroccan government allows the display and sale of Bibles in languages such as French, English, and Spanish, reflecting a degree of openness to Christian texts. However, the limited number of Arabic translations available illustrates a critical boundary. These Bibles are often confined to select bookshops, and even then they come under the watchful eye of authorities who are quick to confiscate them. If suspected of being used for prizing purposes, this cautious approach highlights a broader governmental policy that strictly controls the public distribution of non-Muslim religious materials, underscoring a delicate balance between religious visibility and the prevention of religious persuasion that could disrupt the predominantly Muslim fabric of Moroccan society. Despite the minimal persecution of Christians, the religious freedoms of Christian children remain significantly curtailed, particularly in terms of education. The absence of structured religious education for Christian youth signifies a deeper societal reluctance to integrate non-Muslim teachings into the fabric of Moroccan life. This gap in religious education not only affects the Christian community, but also shapes the general understanding and acceptance of religious plurality among the upcoming generations. The situation in Morocco provides a poignant example of the complexities surrounding religious freedom in the modern world. It reflects a scenario where cultural values and traditional norms both challenge and shape the contours of religious expression and tolerance as Morocco continues to navigate its path between tradition and modernity. It serves as a critical case study for other nations grappling with similar issues of religious accommodation and the broader implications for social harmony and human rights. Number 9. Uzbekistan. As we delve into the complexities of religious expression across the globe, Uzbekistan presents a particularly alarming scenario situated in the heart of Central Asia. This nation is governed by an authoritarian regime that strictly limits personal freedoms, particularly in the realm of religious expression. Owning a Bible in Uzbekistan isn't just frowned upon, it can lead to severe repercussions. The government maintaining a tight grip on religious activities enforces harsh penalties against those found with Christian scriptures. Authorities in Uzbekistan have developed a routine of raiding homes under various guises. A notable case involved officers claiming to search for a weapon only to confiscate and destroy a Bible. This incident sheds light on the extreme measures taken to suppress religious materials that diverge from state-sanctioned beliefs. In another disturbing instance, after a local openly admitted to engaging with Christian literature, their home was abruptly invaded, and their religious texts were forcibly taken and annihilated. These actions reflect a broader pattern of repression that stifles spiritual diversity and curtails basic human rights for the people of Uzbekistan. The act of exploring one's faith through literature, like the Bible, is fraught with danger and can lead to unimaginable consequences. This harsh reality starkly contrasts with the freedoms enjoyed in many parts of the world, highlighting the ongoing struggle for religious liberty and the need for global awareness and intervention. As we reflect on Uzbekistan, understand stringent policies, it becomes evident that the fight for religious freedom remains a critical issue in our modern age. It serves as a reminder of the importance of standing in solidarity with those who are persecuted for their beliefs and advocating for the universal right to religious expression. In doing so, we not only support those in immediate need, but also uphold the values of freedom and tolerance that define a more humane and just world. Number 8. Maldives. Beneath the veneer of this tourist haven lies a stringent adherence to religious laws that starkly conflict with the global norms of religious freedom in the Maldives. The act of importing a Bible is not just prohibited, it is a legally punishable offense. This prohibition reflects deeper societal norms and laws that govern life in the Maldives. The absence of a complete Bible translation into DVI, the national language, further emphasizes the institutional disregard for religious diversity for Maldivians converting from Islam. The state religion is not merely a personal choice, but a socio-legal upheaval that results in automatic revocation of citizenship, a stark penalty by any measure. The severity escalates to the extent that possessing a Bible is considered a capital offense, which underscores the extreme measures taken to maintain religious homogeneity. Churches are non-existent, and the Christian community, whether they be migrants or tourists, is forced into secrecy. They convene in hidden gatherings devoid of the basic freedom to own or share their holy scriptures. This clandestine practice of faith starkly contrasts with the island's outward appearance of serene and welcoming holiday spots. This situation in the Maldives raises critical questions about the balance between a state's religious identity and the rights of individuals to practice different faiths. It also casts a shadow on the Maldives' international image as a blissful getaway, hinting at the underlying tensions and the high cost of maintaining religious conformity as we traverse through a world that is increasingly interconnected. The story of the Maldives serves as a poignant reminder of the complexities and challenges that lie in reconciling deeply held religious values with the universal rights to freedom of belief and expression. It is a call to global citizens and leaders alike to foster a more inclusive dialogue that bridges these divides, ensuring that tourism and economic allure do not overshadow fundamental human rights. Engaging with these issues thoughtfully and proactively is essential not only for advancing global human rights, but also for enriching our understanding of the delicate balance between tradition and modernity in diverse societies. Number 7. Libya post-revolution state fragmentation. Competing governments in Tripoli and Benghazi. Militias control checkpoints. Pre-2011 Penal Code Articles 291-294 outlaw proselytism. Transitional authorities reaffirm restrictions. Militia units and police alike treat Arabic Bibles as evangelistic tools. Large-scale seizures typically occur at maritime ports. In detention centers for migrants, guards confiscate scripture discovered in belongings. Penalties vary: summary destruction of books, fines, or prolonged detention without trial. UN Human Rights Council flags literature suppression as part of broader abuses against migrants. Libyan diplomats cite national security threats posed by foreign extremist sects. Where state authority fractures, literature bans become bargaining chips for armed groups, reinforcing the peril of traveling with religious materials in zones of militia rule. Number 6. Somalia. The federal government controls limited urban pockets. Al-Shabaab insurgency dictates large rural zones. The provisional constitution anchors Islam as the state faith. No provision for minority worship. Local Sharia courts treat apostasy as a capital offense. Police and militants alike intercept shipments entering the port of Kismayo. Border patrols along the Kenya and Ethiopia routes search vehicles for Bibles. Confiscated copies are burned. In public purification ceremonies. Individuals caught distributing material face summary tribunals or extrajudicial penalties. African Union peacekeepers raise concerns. Responses hampered by security instability. In conflict environments, prohibition merges with insurgent ideology, creating dual layers of risk: state sanction in government zones and militant enforcement elsewhere. Number 5. Yemen civil war splits. Territory among the internationally recognized government, Houthi administration, and southern secessionists. Houthi-controlled judiciary applies a strict interpretation of Sharia that forbids possession of Christian literature. Coalition-aligned courts likewise uphold blasphemy clauses criminalizing conversion. Aid shipments undergo ideological vetting. Containers holding multilingual Bibles are impounded. In urban centers, security committees raid print shops suspected of covert translations. Sentences include heavy fines, job dismissal, or multi-year imprisonment. UN Special Rapporteur on Freedom of Religion notes that literature bans aggravate humanitarian crises by limiting NGOs perceived as faith-based. Yemen exemplifies how wartime governance tightens religious control, using literature bans to police allegiances amid fractured sovereignty. China in the intricate landscape of global religious freedoms. China presents a profound case of governmental intervention into personal belief systems governed by the Chinese Communist Party (CCP). The nation has implemented a stringent ban on the online distribution of the Bible, revealing the government's intent to maintain tight control over religious practices. This policy extends beyond mere prohibition. It actively seeks to erase the Bible's presence from digital and physical shelves. Alike notably, the CCP has not only removed Bibles from bookstores, but has also gone as far as altering the scripture itself. Verses from the Bible have been replaced with quotations from President Xi Jinping, illustrating a bold attempt to supplant religious texts with state-endorsed ideology. The oversight over the Bible's distribution is a continuation of long-standing policies. Historically, the CCP has allowed the Bible to be distributed solely through state-sanctioned churches. This control was meant to ensure that religious teachings aligned with government-approved doctrines. However, the advent of the internet and e-commerce had briefly opened a loophole, making the Bible accessible online to the broader public. Recent crackdowns have aggressively closed this loophole, reinforcing the CCP's commitment to controlling the religious narrative searches on major online platforms like JD.com now fail to return any results for the Holy Bible, and while Amazon.cn might still offer related religious study guides or texts such as the Quran, the Bible itself is strikingly absent. These measures reflect a broader, more pervasive approach to religion in China, where the state asserts profound influence over how religious identity is expressed and experienced. The removal of the Bible from accessible media is not just an act of censorship, but a strategic move to mold the cultural and spiritual landscape of the nation in our modern era, where digital access can often signify freedom. Such restrictions mark a significant retreat from global norms of religious and personal liberty. This situation in China serves as a critical reminder of the ongoing struggle between state control and individual religious rights. It challenges global communities and advocates of religious freedom to reflect on the delicate balance between respecting sovereignty and promoting universal human rights. As we observe these developments, it becomes increasingly important to engage in dialogue and advocacy that uphold the integrity of personal beliefs and freedom in an increasingly interconnected world. Number 3. Saudi Arabia starkly exemplifies the stringent control exercised over religious expression within its borders. As a country where Islam is not only the state religion, but the only religion allowed to be practiced and propagated publicly, it presents a unique landscape of religious homogeneity enforced by law. This regulation significantly affects the importation and distribution of non-Islamic religious texts such as the Bible. While Saudi law permits the private practice of other religions, the public practice of these faiths is prohibited, creating a dichotomy between private belief and public behavior. Individuals in Saudi Arabia are permitted to own and use religious texts like the Bible for personal use, but these texts must remain confined within the private sphere. The public display of religious symbols, public worship of other religions, and attempts to convert Muslims to other faiths are strictly prohibited and punishable by severe penalties. This legal framework highlights a rigid interpretation of religious freedom, strictly limiting it to private life. The nuances of this policy raise significant ethical and human rights questions. On one hand, Saudi Arabia's approach protects its cultural and religious identity, maintaining a uniform religious landscape. On the other hand, it restricts individual freedoms and the universal right to religious expression for global audiences. Saudi Arabia's policies serve as a critical reflection point on the balance between national religious identity and global human rights standards. They prompt us to consider how nations can respect and integrate international human rights norms while maintaining their cultural sovereignty. This examination of Saudi Arabia's religious policies is not just an academic exercise, it has real implications for diplomacy and international relations. It challenges global leaders and citizens to think critically about how we engage with countries with different religious and cultural frameworks, and how we can foster a respectful and understanding dialogue that promotes both cultural identity. Number 2, North Korea, hereditary totalitarian state. Ideology of Yush elevates leadership cult above all beliefs. Articles 69 to 73 of the Criminal Code punish illegal religious activities. Bible ownership equates to political subversion. Border. Guards along the Yalu and Tumen rivers scan for miniaturized scripture. Ministry of State Security interrogates citizens if neighbors report clandestine reading. Punishment spectrum, forced labor camps too, in documented cases, execution. Entire family units can suffer collective penalty under 3 generation. Guilt, UN Commission of Inquiry labels situation, crimes against humanity. Pyongyang dismisses findings as fabricated. North Korea represents prohibition at its absolute extreme. The Bible defined not as foreign influence, but as existential. Threat to regime ideology. Number 1. Afghanistan. Afghanistan stands as a point example at the forefront of this list, where the identity of Christianity is fundamentally unrecognized among its citizens. This exclusion is vividly illustrated by a significant incident in 2009, which underscores the severe constraints on religious materials within the country during this year. Bibles that had been translated into Afghanistan's predominant languages, Pashto and Dari, were sent to a U.S. soldier stationed at a local base. However, these religious texts were never distributed. Instead, they were confiscated and destroyed in a stringent adherence to military regulations that strictly prohibit any form of prizing. The situation escalated in visibility when Al Jazeera, a Qatar-based media outlet, aired footage of U.S. soldiers attending a Bible study class at the base, prominently featuring the stack of translated Bibles. This incident not only sparked a media uproar, but also led to an official response from the U.S. military, which vehemently denied any attempts to convert Afghan citizens to Christianity. This episode highlights the intense scrutiny and the precarious balance between respecting religious beliefs and adhering to local laws that govern religious expression in Afghanistan. The confluence of military operations and religious policies creates a complex and often contentious environment, reflective of the broader challenges of maintaining one's faith in regions hostile to diverse religious expressions. The incident serves as a stark reminder of the challenges faced by individuals seeking to practice their faith in restrictive settings, providing a window into the broader implications of religious bans in modern-day conflicts, and their impact on global religious freedom. Dynamics. Clicking the subscribe button is a great motivation for the channel. Thank you very much.